Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Total Body Strength. We're a few minutes ahead of schedule, so we're going to wait a minute or two for for other people to join, I guess is what we'll do. So we'll just hang out here for a few seconds, a minute. Today's circuit, we're going to be doing two exercises, and we're going to do that 4 times through, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we have 5 different sets of 2 exercises, and we're going to do 30 seconds of the first, 30 seconds of the second, and then we're going to do that 4 times through and then move on to the next one. So this is where we might want to start off with a little bit heavier weights if we can, and then as we get fatigued, we can grab a little bit lighter weight. So that's why I do recommend having 1 or 2 sets of weights for that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start off with some upper body. So we're going to do front and side raises here. So we're going to have our weights, we're going to have our dumbbells here. We're going to have let me turn this on. I thought it was going to be bright enough, but it's not. Okay, so we're going to start off here. So the first exercise are front raises. So dumbbells straight in front. We're going to lift the arms until parallel and back down. So we're squeezing the shoulders, lifting up and coming back down. So we want to make sure we're not using our momentum here. If that's starting to happen, we need to drop the weight down. We're just lifting to parallel to the ground and back down. And then the next 30 seconds is going to be the side raises here. So paper's going to fall away. So we're going to have our palms facing behind us, hands just outside of our legs. We're going to squeeze the shoulders, lift to parallel and back down. So squeezing the shoulders and come back down. So that's going to be our first 2 exercises. And then we're going to do some lower body here. So we're going to move on to some squats. So you can either hold the weights at your sides or at your shoulders, whatever is most comfortable. You can even hold it in between your legs if you're going to stand a little bit wider. But for the squats, we want to make sure the knees are going to track past our second toe, squeezing the glutes, coming back up. So we're squatting down and standing back up. So we're going to do squats for 30 seconds, and then we're going to do some Romanian deadlifts here. So we're going to have our feet shoulder width apart. Dumbbells are going to stay at the front of our body here. And what we're going to do is we're going to push our hips back like we're closing the door, letting the weights drag across the front of our body. And then you go until you start to feel the pull in your hamstring, keeping your back nice and flat, squeeze the glutes and come back up. So pushing those hips back, keeping the knees slightly bent, feeling that in the hamstrings and the glutes. So we'll do that 4 times through. And then the next part is going to be bicep curl into a shoulder press. So we're going to do bicep curls here for 30 seconds. So just squeezing through the biceps, curling up away. And then we'll do those overhead presses for 30 seconds. So just keeping our elbows slightly in. So we don't want to be, as you can see, my elbows are slightly in front of my shoulders. We don't want to be all the way up to the side, just slightly in front, about 45-degree angle, pushing through the shoulders here. So that's going to be the third circuit we're going to do. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to curtsy lunges. So we're going to do 30 seconds on one leg and then 30 seconds on the other leg. So we're going to have constant tension here. So if we want to start, I'll start on the right side. So we're going to take the left leg, step back and diagonal. So it's down that way, hips pointed forward, pretend like you got some headlights on your hips blinding the camera, coming down and back up. So we're lunging and standing back up. So from the side, want to make sure that knee is tracking past the second toe, squeeze the glutes, stand back up. So we'll do 30 seconds on one leg, 30 seconds on the other leg. And then finally, for the last thing, we're going to get on the ground for some core. Move my camera down a little bit for that one. So we're on the ground for some dead bugs. So what we're going to do is 30 seconds. And we're going to do this with, this is called a core assist. So arms straight in the air with those dumbbells, legs 90-degree angles. So our knees and our hips 90-degree angles, low back plastered into the ground. We're going to alternate and we're going to extend, squeeze the core, come back up, do that for 30 seconds, and then we're going to hold here for 30 seconds. So we're just actively engaging the core, pressing that low back into the ground and making sure that we're maintaining the 90 degrees in the hips and the knees. So that is going to be the full circuit for today. So like I said, we're going to do 30 seconds of the first, 30 seconds of the second. We're going to go do through that whole one 4 times, and then we'll move on to the next one. So let's go ahead and do a quick warm up before we get started with our circuit today. So let's start on the ground here. We're on the ground for the whole, for both our warm up exercises here. We're going to start in a half kneeling position. So my right knee is on the ground, left foot is on the ground, and we're going to do a hip flexor to hamstring stretch. So we're going to tuck our pelvis. We're going to keep our core tight. We're going to push our hips forward, reaching the same arm of the knee that's on the ground. So my right knee is on the ground, right arm above head, feeling that stretch in the front of our hip. Breathing nice and deep. And on our next exhale, we're going to extend that front leg, bring our hips back, and bring our body towards our knee for a nice hamstring stretch. So toes are pointed towards the ceiling. We're feeling that stretch from the calf all the way through the hamstrings here. And we're going to go ahead and go back to the hip flexor one more time. So we're tucking the pelvis, pushing the hips forward, reaching our hand above head, squeezing the glute of the knee that's on the ground. And we're exhaling back into that hamstring stretch. Wonderful. Great job, everyone. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other side. So my left knee's on the ground, right foot's on the ground. And same thing, tuck the pelvis, push the hips forward, and left leg is on the ground, left knee's on the ground. So our left hand is going overhead. We're squeezing the left glute, pushing those hips, feeling that stretch right on the inside part of our hip in the front. And we're gonna exhale, rock back into that hamstring stretch. Getting our bodies close to that leg as we can, feeling the stretch all the way through, getting ready for those RDLs we're gonna do. And exhale one more time each way, pushing the hips forward, tucking our pelvis, squeezing the glute of the knee that's on the ground. And we're gonna exhale, rock back into that hamstring stretch. And we can go ahead and come out of that. And we're gonna do one more thing here. So we are gonna be on our hands and our knees. So knees directly below the hips, hands below the shoulders. And we're just gonna do some rotation on each side to get our back and our shoulders nice and warmed up here. So I'm gonna start with my right hand. I'm gonna place it on top of my head. And then I'm gonna rotate, bring my elbow towards my hand. And then exhale, elbow towards the ceiling. So inhaling, hand to the ground, or sorry, elbow to the hand. Exhaling, elbow towards the ceiling. And one more here. Inhale, elbow to the ground. And exhale, elbow to the ceiling. You can go ahead and return that hand back to the ground. Same thing on the other side now. So left hand on top of the head. Inhale, bringing that hand the elbow towards the hand. And we're gonna exhale, elbow towards the ceiling. Opening up as much as we can, feeling that nice rotation through the back. Inhale, elbow to the hand. Exhale, elbow to the ceiling. And one more here, inhaling, elbow to the hand. And exhaling, elbow to the ceiling. We can go ahead and place that hand on the ground and return to standing. And we'll go ahead and get started with our circuit. So starting off, we got front raises and side raises here. We're doing 30 seconds of front raises, 30 seconds of side raises, repeating 4 times through, and then we're moving on. So getting those dumbbells ready, starting the timer here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So we got 30 seconds of front raises here. So hands in front, squeezing the shoulders, nice and controlled here. Want to make sure that we're not rocking back and forth. We don't want to use momentum. So we shouldn't be using our legs to get the weight up. We want to be nice and tall, core tight, squeeze the shoulders, and back down. Don't forget to breathe. We got side raises coming up in 3, 2, 1. So hands out to the side, bringing our hands just about parallel with our shoulders. Want to make sure we're not going over our shoulders. We want it to be just parallel. Also want to make sure we're keeping constant tension by keeping the dumbbells, our hands outside of our hips. We don't want to come forward. We want to keep them to the side. You guys are doing awesome. Switching back to front raises in 3, 2, 1, and front raises. So same thing, arms straight out in front, using our shoulders, using our chest here. Keep those shoulder blades pulled down and back, squeezing the shoulders. At any time you need to take a pause for a second, if your shoulders get tired, take a deep breath, get right back to it. And don't forget, if you need water at any point in time, definitely hydrate. 3, 2, 1, we got side raises. Definitely important to make sure we're staying hydrated through these classes, especially if we're getting nice and sweaty. You gotta replace that fluid that we're maybe losing here. Great job, everyone. Now these are tough. My shoulders are on fire. This is a good point in time. If you are using a heavier set of dumbbells, feel free to switch to a lighter one. 3, 2, 1, we got front raises. We got 2 more of these, you guys. Keep pushing. I know it's tough. And if you guys don't already know, I love training shoulders. So that's why I add things like this in. Give us a nice little shoulder workout. It helps us, especially as females, we tend to have looser joints. So we got to have those strong shoulders to make sure we're not hurting ourselves. 3, 2, 1, side raises. Great job, everyone. Make sure we're going slow and controlled. If you need to shake it out a little bit, shake it out. We want to make sure that our pinkies are towards the ceiling to really get that lateral delts going. So that side part of your delt, you want to make sure that also shoulder blades pulled down and back as we lift to the side. You guys are doing great. We got 1 more of each of these. Last one, 3, 2, 1, front raises. If you can't get the weight all the way up, it's okay. We're just going to use all of our muscles that we have, really activating these fibers here today, getting the most out of this, making sure we're focusing on squeezing shoulders here, not using momentum. Don't forget to breathe. It does help if you exhale as you contract your muscles. 3, 2, 1, last one, side raises. You guys are doing great. We're going straight into squats after this. So we got squats coming up and then RDLs. Still sticking to the 30 seconds. So we're going to do 30 seconds of squats, 30 seconds of RDLs, and then we're going to do that 4 times. And then we'll go back to the upper body. Great job, everyone. Squats coming up here. And 3, 2, 1. All right, you can hold the weights wherever you like. If you want to hold them in the middle like I am right now, make sure you have a little bit of a wider stance, but we want toes forward, knees tracking past the second toe, squeezing the glutes as we come up, making sure that our core is tight and we're keeping our back flat. We don't want to lift with our low back, we want to lift with our glutes. We got RDLs coming up here in 3, 2, 1. So dumbbells in front, feet shoulder width apart, pushing our hips back, keeping our core tight. So our core right here is engaged. And we are tucking our pelvis. We want to make sure that our hips are coming back, because if they're not, then we're coming too far forward, and that's where you put pressure on the low back. So push the hips back. 3, 2, 1, and we're squatting again. So we're coming down as low as we can, squeezing the glutes, coming back to center. Pushing the ground away from us. Heel, big toe, little toe. Don't forget to breathe through these. You guys are doing great. RDLs in 3, 2, 1. So we're pushing our hips back, squeezing, coming back up. I want to make sure that we're keeping our toes on the ground. It's really easy to have those toes come up as we push back with our hips, but we need to keep our knees directly over the arches of our foot, and that will help those toes stay down. 3, 2, 1. Squat. Doing great. We got one more after this one, right? No. Yes. Yes. It's our third one. I've confused myself. Pushing the ground away from us. Heel, big toe, little toe. RDLs. 3, 2, 1. Knees staying slightly bent, only moving our hips. You don't have to go down all the way to the ground with the dumbbells. Just go until you start to feel that pull or that stretch through the hamstrings. Then we can go ahead and squeeze those glutes and come back up. All right, last round. 3, 2, 1. We're squatting again. Last round of squats. And then after these RDLs, we got bicep curls and we got shoulder presses. Keeping that core tight. Really shouldn't be feeling this in a rack at all. Using those glutes, using our quads here. 3, 2, 1. Last thing, RDLs. Then we're going straight into bicep curls. Remember, keeping that core tight, back is flat, including our shoulder blades. So our shoulder blades are pinned back like we're squeezing an orange in between our shoulder blades. And again, only go down as far as it feels comfortable for you. 3, 2, 1. Bicep curls. So we're curling here 30 seconds. And then we're gonna press for 30 seconds. Great job, everyone. Making sure we're not swinging those weights back and forth. We're just squeezing through the biceps, lifting the weight, coming back down. 3, 2, 1, and we are pressing. So elbows slightly in, pressing those weights overhead. Keeping our core tight. So if you can see from this angle, my back is not arching. We're keeping that pelvis tucked. Keeping that core tight, slight squeeze through the glutes here. And we want to make sure that when we come up to the top, our shoulder blades are pinned down and back. We don't want our shoulders near our ears. We want them to be nice and pulled out. 3, 2, 1. We're curling again. You guys doing great. If you guys want to tell me after we're done with this circuit, tell me what your favorite movement is or your favorite muscle group to work, so we can add more of that in there. You know, I said I like training shoulders, so sometimes I add a little bit more shoulder stuff in there, which Betsy, I know you know I love shoulders. 3, 2, 1. We're pressing. But if there's a certain movement that you guys like, that you want me to try out next time, just let me know. And I'm definitely more than happy to incorporate that into our workouts here. Great job. Still squeezing through the shoulders. We're almost there. We got 2 more after this. And then we're going to our curtsy lunges. 3, 2, 1. Bicep curls. We're halfway through the circuit. You guys are doing great. Keep pushing. Again, making sure we're not forgetting to breathe. We're not using momentum. We don't want to swing from the legs. We don't want to be bending in the back. If that's starting to happen, definitely recommend dropping down to a lighter set of weights. Want to make sure we're getting good contraction here. We're really using our muscles that we're intending to. Intent is everything. 3, 2, 1. Pressing. So important to focus on the muscle groups that we're trying to work right now. So if you focus on squeezing your shoulders as we press above head, really feel those muscles working in our shoulders. Our shoulders are probably already really pretty sore or tired after those front and side raises. So that kind of helps us focus more on those shoulders here. All right, 1 more each. 3, 2, 1, we're curling, last set of curls. And then we're gonna go into those presses. And then we got curtsy lunges coming on up. You guys are doing great. I don't know about you guys, but it's so much easier to do this class when the sun is out instead of the sun coming up after the class ends. Definitely makes me a happy camper. 3, 2, 1, we're pressing. Last set of shoulders today, you guys. Push through this. And then we got those curtsy lunges all on one leg and then all on the other leg. Awesome, we're almost there. Last upper body thing today. 3, 2, 1, curtsy lunges. So I'm starting on my right foot. And I'm not going to stand all the way up. I'm going to keep a slight bend in that knee. So as you can see, I'm not coming all the way up to make sure that tension is staying on my glutes. So we're stepping back and coming up, keeping our core tight, back flat, heel, big toe, little toe, pushing the ground away from us, making sure that when we step back and behind, our hips are forward. 3, 2, 1, other leg. So now I'm on my left leg, making sure hips are pointed forward. All of our weight is in our front foot. The back foot is just there for balance. We're not pushing back off that. We want to make sure that when we come back, our chest is directly over the arch of that front foot. So if we're back on that back foot, I can't even do it. If you're back on the back foot and your chest is up, that means that pressure's on the quad. 3, 2, 1, other leg. Want to make sure we're coming forward, keeping our tension in the glutes, letting that knee track past the second toe, just like with those squats we were doing earlier. Don't forget to breathe, keeping those hips pointed towards me. Blind me with your headlights. Squeezing the glutes all the way up. Chest coming forward. 3, 2, 1, other leg. You guys are doing great. After this leg, we got 2 more on each side, right? Yeah. Yep. This is our second time. Don't forget to breathe. You are doing awesome. 3, 2, 1, other leg. Great job, y'all. Pushing that ground away from us. All the weight in the front foot. Great job, everyone. Almost there. 3, 2, 1, other leg. After this, we got 1 more on each side. And then we're going on the ground for dead bugs. We may only have time to do 2 dead bugs before we cool down. 3, 2, 1. That's okay because technically we have been working our core the whole time because we've been working on keeping our back flat and our core tight through all of these movements. So technically we have been doing core this whole time, but we'll do a little bit of isolated with those dead bugs, working on our pillar, which our core includes our low back muscles. 3, 2, 1, last side. Our core is not just our 6-pack muscles, but it also includes our low back muscles, which are really important and often get neglected when we sit down at our desks while we're working. Great job getting ready. See that on the ground for dead bugs. In 3, 2, 1, on the ground. Legs are 90 degrees. We're holding those weights in the air, activating our core a little bit more, extending opposite. Each leg, arms are not extending here. It helps if you exhale. As you come up, keeping that pelvis tucked, imagine you're pushing your belly button into the ground. 3, 2, 1. We're holding here. So actively pushing that belly button into the ground. Knees and ankles and hips are all at 90 degrees here. Don't forget to breathe. Also make sure, or another way to kind of activate your core a little bit more is pretend like you got an apple sitting right here on your stomach. And you're crushing that apple every time you activate your core. 3, 2, 1. We're going again, so we're extending each leg one at a time, going as far down as we can without letting that low back come off the ground. So we're pushing low back into the ground. We are crushing that apple and exhaling as we come back to center. This is going to be our last round. 3, 2, 1. We're holding, and after this hold, go ahead and grab a sip of water. We'll get right into that cool down. Great job, you guys. Pushing that belly button into the ground. Great job. We're almost there. Keep holding, making sure that you're maintaining 90 degrees in the hips. We don't want our knees up. We want them out. Activate that core. 3, 2, 1. Set those dumbbells down. Whew. We are done with that circuit. Great job, everyone. Grab a sip of water and make your way onto the ground. What we're going to do is some quadruped rocking with a nice adductor stretch here. So when you're ready, find your way back onto the ground, onto the hands and knees. And what we're going to do here, so I'm going to start with my right side. So I'm going to have my right leg straight out to the side like a kickstand, heel, big toe, little toe on the ground. My back is flat. I'm going to bring my glutes down to touch that heel as close as I can, keeping the back flat. And then we're going to squeeze and come back up. So we're rocking back, feeling that stretch all through the inner part of our thigh here, squeezing and coming back. Do 2 more here. We're going to do about 3 on each side. So last one. Squeezing, coming up. And then we'll go ahead and switch over to the other side here. So now my left leg straight out like a kickstand, heel, big toe, little toe on the ground. Rock back, glute to heel, squeeze a glute and come back up. This is also a good exercise to practice our core. So keeping that core tight. And we're going to do 1 more here. Awesome. All right, last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. We're going to do some stretching for the upper back. So real quick, going to take my right arm, still on my hands and my knees, threading it in between my my left arm and my left leg, pushing the back of my hand into the ground, pulling away with my upper back. We're going to do 2 breaths here. So inhaling nice and deep into the chest. And slowly exhaling. And 1 more big deep breath. And exhale. We can go ahead and do that same thing on the other side now. So I'm going to take my left arm, thread it through in between my right arm and my right leg, pushing the back of my hand into the ground, pulling away with my upper body. So 2 deep breaths here. Inhaling nice and deep into the chest, feeling everything expand. And exhaling, feeling that tension leave the body. And 1 more deep breath here. You can replace that hand on the ground and return to either seated, kneeling, or standing, however you would like to end. But that is going to be all we have today for this total body strength class. Thank you all so much for coming. I had a really good time working out with you guys. My shoulders are feeling it. So sorry about it, but I'm really not that sorry. Don't forget, today we do have 2 stretch breaks. We have one at 11 and one at 2:30, as well as exercise with exos at 12. And we also do have our membership satisfaction survey that ends tomorrow. So if you could please fill that out, we really do greatly appreciate all the feedback we get. So let me know if you have any questions about anything. And thank you all so much for coming. I hope you have a great